Imagine standing on the shores of time, looking out at colossal monuments that once defined the pinnacle of human achievement. For thousands of years, these wonders inspired awe, curiosity, and reverence among travelers, historians, and dreamers. They were more than stone and mortar. They were expressions of culture, power, faith, and artistry. Yet today, only one of these ancient wonders remains standing while the others have vanished, lost to the ravages of time, natural disasters, and human actions. What happened to these incredible creations? Why have they disappeared? And what stories do their ruins tell? Join me on an extraordinary journey to uncover the mysteries behind the original 7 wonders of the ancient world, to explore their histories, their fates, and their enduring legacy. When we hear the phrase 7 wonders of the world, many people immediately picture modern marvels: the Great Wall of China snaking through mountains, the vibrant city of Petra carved into red cliffs, or even the Taj Mahal shining in the sun. While these sites are rightly called wonders today, the original 7 wonders were very different. This ancient list referred specifically to remarkable monuments around the Mediterranean basin, created by some of the most powerful and innovative civilizations of antiquity: Egyptians, Greeks, Babylonians, and others. The Mediterranean was the heart of the ancient world, a vibrant crossroads where culture, trade, and ideas flourished. Powerful kingdoms and city-states competed not just in war, but in the splendor of their architecture and art. Temples, statues, tombs, and fortresses rose up as physical manifestations of their religious beliefs, political power, and artistic mastery. These monuments were celebrated by travelers and scholars alike for their size, beauty, and engineering excellence. Despite their grandeur and fame, today only one of the original 7 wonders, the Great Pyramid of Giza, remains largely intact. The others have succumbed to centuries of earthquakes, invasions, fires, and neglect. This loss can feel deeply poignant. It is a reminder that no matter how mighty our creations, time is the ultimate force that spares nothing. Yet these ruins and stories continue to inspire. They speak of a human drive to create something eternal, to reach beyond the ordinary and touch the divine. One of the most intriguing aspects of the 7 wonders is the symbolic choice of the number 7. Across many ancient cultures, 7 was seen as a sacred, mystical number, representing perfection, harmony, and completeness. This helped to give the list a sense of unity and meaning beyond just a random collection of monuments. However, it is crucial to understand that the 7 wonders list was never fixed. Different historians and travelers over centuries proposed different wonders, sometimes including more or fewer sites, depending on their experiences and priorities. The fixed list we know today only crystallized during the Renaissance, a period fascinated with the classical world, eager to catalog its lost glories. Why does this ancient list still matter? These wonders connect us across millennia to people who dreamed, labored, and believed just as we do. They show us how human creativity and faith took shape in monumental form. They teach us about the societies that built them, their values, their technologies, and their histories. Beyond the ruins, the wonders have left a cultural legacy that continues to shape art, architecture, and popular imagination worldwide. The pyramids inspire architects and engineers. The myth of the Hanging Gardens fuels debates about history and legend. The Colossus of Rhodes lives on in the symbolism of freedom embodied by the Statue of Liberty. As we begin this journey, picture yourself traveling ancient trade routes and deserts, visiting sites where the earth still holds the echoes of ancient prayers, royal ambitions, and artistic triumphs. From Egypt's golden sands to the lush but mysterious gardens of Babylon, from the grand temples of Ephesus to the bronze ruins of Rhodes and the towering Lighthouse of Alexandria, we will follow the footsteps of ancient travelers and historians. This is more than a history lesson. It's a story of creation and destruction, of human brilliance and the relentless passage of time. It is a story of loss and remembrance, of how civilizations rise and fall, leaving behind the fragile traces of their greatness. It is a reflection on what we build today, what we preserve, and how we remember. What if the very concept of the seven wonders was born from curiosity and conquest, shaped by storytellers and explorers rather than a single official decree? The story of how this legendary list came together is as fascinating and complex as the wonders themselves. It reveals not only the wonders but the human thirst to discover, record, and celebrate the extraordinary. Long before smartphones and instant travel guides, ancient historians and travelers were the curators of human knowledge and marvels. Among the first to document the wonders of their world were Greek scholars like Herodotus, often called the father of history, and Diodorus Siculus, whose writings captured the essence of distant lands and remarkable monuments. These chroniclers did not merely record facts. They wove tales that sparked imaginations and inspired generations. The roots of the Seven Wonders list can be traced to a unique moment in history, the 4th century BC, when Alexander the Great's vast military campaigns opened new horizons for the Greeks. As Alexander's armies conquered Egypt, Persia, and Babylon, Greek travelers gained unprecedented access to foreign lands, rich in culture and history. This exposure ignited an urge to catalog the most magnificent and mysterious sights encountered on these journeys. Interestingly, there was no singular, official list at first. Much like how modern travelers share differing must-see lists, early Greek writers compiled varied collections of wonders. Some emphasized colossal statues, others focused on grand temples or engineering feats. However, there was consensus on one element, the number 7. This choice was not accidental. Across ancient civilizations, 7 held mystical and symbolic importance, representing harmony, perfection, and completeness. Limiting the list to 7 gave it a sacred structure that was easy to remember and pass on. As these lists evolved, several wonders frequently appeared, forming a core consensus. The Great Pyramid of Giza, the Hanging Gardens of Babylon, the Statue of Zeus at Olympia, the Temple of Artemis at Ephesus, the Mausoleum at Halicarnassus, the Colossus of Rhodes, and the Lighthouse of Alexandria. Each represented extraordinary human ingenuity and cultural significance. It wasn't until the Renaissance, a rebirth of classical learning and appreciation for antiquity, that the list became standardized. By this time, however, all but the Great Pyramid had been destroyed. The Renaissance scholars' fixation on this list served as both an homage to lost civilizations and a cautionary tale about the fragility of human achievements. Why did the ancient Greeks and later societies feel compelled to create such a list? Part of it stemmed from a deep-seated admiration for human creativity and the divine. The wonders were often associated with gods, kings, and heroes. They were testaments to the civilization's power, faith, and sophistication. Recording and sharing these marvels helped to create a shared cultural identity that transcended city-states and empires. Moreover, the compilation of wonders reflects the nature of ancient travel and communication. Tales of distant lands came filtered through travelers' accounts, often mixing fact and legend. Some wonders, like the Hanging Gardens, might have been exaggerated or misunderstood. The list was as much about inspiring wonder and curiosity as it was about documenting reality. This human desire to categorize and celebrate extraordinary things is timeless. Just as modern society has World Heritage Sites or New Seven Wonders, the ancient list was a way to distill the awe-inspiring aspects of the world into something memorable, meaningful, and portable. Imagine a monument so vast, so meticulously constructed, that it has stood the test of nearly 4,500 years, weathering deserts, earthquakes, and human history itself. The Great Pyramid of Giza is not just a wonder of the ancient world. It is a timeless sentinel guarding secrets of ancient ingenuity and mystery that still captivate us today. The Great Pyramid of Giza stands alone among the original 7 wonders as the only structure to survive intact into the modern era. Built around 2500 BC during Egypt's 4th dynasty, this colossal tomb was commissioned by Pharaoh Khufu, also known by his Greek name, Khops. Its longevity is nothing short of astonishing. For nearly 4 millennia, it has dominated the desert landscape, outlasting empires, wars, and natural disasters that erased its sister wonders from the face of the earth. Standing at an original height of approximately 147 meters, about 481 feet, the Great Pyramid held the record for the tallest man-made structure in the world for nearly 3,800 years, until medieval structures like the spire of Lincoln Cathedral overtook it. Even today, the pyramid's sheer scale impresses engineers and tourists alike, with a base covering 13 acres and an estimated 2.3 million blocks of stone, some weighing up to 80 tons. But why has it endured where others vanished? The answer lies both in its design and its construction materials. The pyramid's geometric shape, a true pyramid with 4 smooth triangular sides meeting at a precise apex, distributes weight evenly, making it incredibly stable. The massive limestone blocks were quarried and fitted with remarkable precision, creating a structure that resists erosion and seismic activity far better than most ancient buildings. The pyramid was originally encased in highly polished white Tura limestone, which reflected sunlight and made the structure gleam like a gem in the desert. On top, it featured a capstone or pyramidion, possibly plated in gold or electrum, a natural gold-silver alloy, which would have shone brilliantly under the sun. Over millennia, most of this outer casing has been stripped away, either by natural weathering or repurposed for other construction projects, leaving behind the rough core visible today. One of the enduring mysteries surrounding the Great Pyramid is the method of its construction. For centuries, myths and speculations have swirled, from theories involving slaves building it under brutal conditions to more fantastical ideas about alien intervention. Modern archaeology and research, however, paint a very different picture. Evidence now strongly suggests that a large, skilled workforce of Egyptian laborers built the pyramid, supported by a complex logistics and engineering system. These workers were paid and respected craftsmen rather than enslaved labor. Many workable theories about construction exist, but the most widely accepted involve the use of ramps, straight, zigzagging, or spiraling, that helped transport and position the massive stone blocks. Recent discoveries of workers' villages and tools near the site have reinforced this understanding, highlighting the organized nature of the labor force and the remarkable project management skills of the ancient Egyptians. Inside the pyramid, the burial chambers remain a testament to funerary beliefs and architectural prowess. The king's chamber, where Pharaoh Khufu was laid to rest, is a marvel of stonework with granite blocks transported from quarries hundreds of miles away. The intricate internal passageways and chambers were designed to deter tomb robbers and honor the deceased's journey into the afterlife. The Great Pyramid's survival also speaks to its profound cultural significance. For ancient Egyptians, it was not merely a tomb. It was a cosmic monument aligned with the cardinal points in the stars, symbolizing the pharaoh's divine connection to the gods and the eternal cycle of life and death. Today, the pyramid remains a source of fascination and inspiration. It attracts millions of visitors annually who marvel at its scale, precision, and enigmatic aura. Scientists and engineers continue to study it, hoping to unlock more secrets of ancient technology and culture. In a broader sense, the Great Pyramid stands as a powerful symbol, a monument built to last forever, which has outlived every other ancient wonder. Its endurance reminds us that while civilizations rise and fall, some human creations can transcend time and connect us across millennia. Imagine a towering garden soaring high above the dusty plains, a lush paradise of cascading plants and flowers watered by a mysterious, ingenious irrigation system. For centuries, the Hanging Gardens of Babylon have captivated imaginations as a symbol of human ingenuity and romance. But did this wonder truly exist, or is it a legend born from myth and misunderstanding? The Hanging Gardens of Babylon are among the most enigmatic wonders of the ancient world. Unlike the Great Pyramid, whose physical presence still dominates the Giza Plateau, the gardens exist largely in the realm of story and speculation. Descriptions by ancient Greek historians depict a magnificent, multi-tiered garden with trees, shrubs, and flowers seemingly hanging or terraced atop an immense structure, irrigated by an extraordinary water system that lifted water from the nearby Euphrates River. According to tradition, the gardens were built by King Nebuchadnezzar around 600 BC as a gift to his wife, Queen Amytis, who longed for the green hills of her homeland Media. This romantic tale has helped cement the gardens in popular imagination as a symbol of love and devotion. But there is a stark problem. No definitive archaeological evidence has ever been found to prove their existence in Babylon. All historical references to the gardens come from secondary sources, ancient Greek writers who never saw the gardens themselves, but wrote about them based on travelers' stories and hearsay. The earliest such account is from Josephus, a Jewish historian who cited a Babylonian priest named Berossus. Other historians, like Strabo and Philo of Byzantium, also describe the gardens in detail, yet no Babylonian texts or native inscriptions mention them. This absence of local records is highly unusual, considering the garden's supposed grandeur. One would expect such a monumental structure to be well documented by its builders. Moreover, excavations at Babylon have yet to reveal remains consistent with a massive terraced garden of this nature. Some modern scholars propose an intriguing alternative theory. The hanging gardens may not have been located in Babylon at all. Instead, they might have been the lush gardens of the city of Nineveh, capital of the Assyrian Empire, which are well documented archaeologically and fit many of the descriptions attributed to Babylon. It's possible that Greek writers confused the two cities, or that stories became conflated over time. If the gardens did exist, they would have been a marvel of ancient engineering. The irrigation system described involved a complex chain pump, or screw mechanism to raise water from the river to the gardens above, a remarkable technological feat for the time. This would have allowed a verdant oasis to flourish amid the arid Mesopotamian landscape, an incredible sight for anyone witnessing it. Tragically, if real, the gardens likely disappeared by the 1st century AD, destroyed by conquest or natural decay. Mesopotamian cities changed hands numerous times. Babylon and Nineveh alike endured invasions from Persians, Greeks, Romans, and later Islamic conquerors. The shifting political and environmental landscape likely contributed to the loss of these gardens. Despite the uncertainty surrounding their physical existence, the hanging gardens remain a powerful cultural symbol. They embody the human yearning to create beauty in harsh environments, to harness technology for nature's sake, and to express love through grand gestures. The gardens also remind us how history and myth intertwine, how stories passed through generations can become as important as facts. Their ambiguous status invites us to reflect on the nature of historical knowledge. How much do we accept as truth, and how much remains a mystery? The gardens inspire both awe and skepticism, a duality that fuels ongoing archaeological and historical investigations. In essence, the hanging gardens of Babylon continue to thrive, not as stones or plants, but as an enduring legend that challenges our understanding of the past and sparks our imagination. Picture a magnificent temple rising from the ancient city of Ephesus, its towering columns shimmering in the sun, dedicated to a goddess who was both huntress and mother, protector and life-giver. This was the Temple of Artemis, a wonder not only of stone but of faith and resilience, rebuilt multiple times only to be tragically destroyed by fire. What drove this temple to such heights, and what led to its fiery end? The Temple of Artemis at Ephesus was one of the most celebrated wonders of the ancient world. Unlike many of the other wonders which primarily served funerary or monumental purposes, this temple was deeply religious, dedicated to Artemis, the Greek goddess of the hunt, wilderness, and fertility. The city of Ephesus, located in modern-day Turkey, regarded Artemis as their patron deity, a protector who embodied the life-giving forces of nature. Artemis's worship in Ephesus was unique. While in other parts of the Greek world she was mainly seen as a huntress and virgin goddess, Ephesian Artemis was revered more as a mother goddess, symbolizing fertility and life itself. This variation reflected the blending of local beliefs with Hellenic traditions, a common phenomenon in ancient polytheism. The history of the temple is marked by cycles of construction, destruction, and renewal. The earliest known temple on the Site was built sometime before the Ionian migration around 1000 BC. This first temple likely had humble origins and may not have been dedicated originally to Artemis. Over time, as the cult grew in importance, the temple evolved into a grander structure. Tragedy struck in the 7th century BC when a devastating flood destroyed this early temple, but the Ephesian people, determined to honor their goddess, built a new temple, even more magnificent than the first. This second temple would later earn its place among the 7 wonders. However, this temple's fate was sealed not by nature, but by human hands. In 365 BC, a man named Herostratus set fire to the temple in a desperate bid to immortalize his name. His motives were chillingly straightforward. He wanted fame at any cost. This act of arson sent shockwaves through Ephesus, and in response, the authorities executed Herostratus and forbade anyone from speaking his name, a decree aimed at denying him the notoriety he sought. Despite this ban, ancient historians, such as Theopompus and Strabo, later revealed his name in their writings, illustrating how the desire for infamy can sometimes outlast even the harshest punishments. The story of Herostratus adds a layer of dark human drama to the temple's history, reminding us how individual actions can leave lasting marks on cultural memory. Undeterred, the people of Ephesus built a third temple on the site, which became the wonder described by ancient writers. This structure was colossal, approximately 137 meters long and 18 meters high, surrounded by more than 100 marble columns, each intricately carved. The temple was a masterpiece of Ionic architecture, showcasing exquisite artistry and engineering. Writers, such as Antipater of Sidon, hailed the Temple of Artemis as the grandest of all wonders. Its size, beauty, and the sheer number of columns made it a breathtaking sight. For centuries, it served as both a religious center and a symbol of Ephesian wealth and devotion. However, the temple's existence was eventually cut short in the late 4th century AD. The rise of Christianity brought significant religious upheaval, and the temple was destroyed by a mob, traditionally said to be led by St. John the Apostle, although historical evidence is scant. This event marked the violent end of one of the ancient world's most splendid religious monuments. For centuries after, the temple's location was lost to memory, buried beneath earth and time. It was only rediscovered in the 19th century by British archaeologist John Turtlewood, who excavated the ruins and brought to light the remains of what was once a majestic shrine. The story of the Temple of Artemis is a saga of faith, destruction, and rebirth. It reflects the spiritual devotion of the ancient Ephesians, their resilience in the face of disaster, and the destructive forces of human ambition and religious conflict. The temple's ruins today remind us not only of architectural grandeur, but also of the fragility of human cultural achievements. Imagine entering a sacred temple where the very embodiment of divine power towers above you, more than 12 meters tall, shimmering with gold and ivory, radiating the majesty of the king of the gods himself. The statue of Zeus at Olympia was not merely a sculpture. It was a spiritual beacon, a masterpiece that captured the awe and reverence of ancient Greece. Yet today its fate remains shrouded in mystery. In the ancient city of Olympia, home of the original Olympic Games, the statue of Zeus stood as one of the most magnificent and revered wonders. Created by the famous sculptor Phidias around the mid-5th century BC, the statue was an artistic and religious marvel. Zeus, king of the Greek gods, was depicted seated on an elaborate throne, adorned with gold plates and ivory, his presence filling the grand temple with an almost tangible aura of divine authority. The statue was enormous. Some ancient writers claimed it was so tall that if it stood up, its head would touch the ceiling of the temple. The throne itself was made from rare and precious materials, including ebony, ivory, gold, and precious stones, making the entire creation a display of unimaginable wealth and craftsmanship. Phidias was no stranger to monumental works. He also crafted the statue of Athena in the Parthenon of Athens. His work on Zeus at Olympia was considered one of his greatest achievements, capturing not only the physical grandeur of the deity, but also his commanding presence and spiritual significance. The statue of Zeus was central to the religious life at Olympia. The site was a pilgrimage destination, drawing visitors from across the Greek world, especially during the Olympic Games held every 4 years. The statue embodied the unity of the Greek city-states under the watchful eyes of their supreme deity. Despite its fame and reverence, the fate of the statue is a historical enigma. It is known to have existed until at least the late 4th century AD, but after that, records become unclear. Some historians believe it was destroyed in a fire that consumed the temple itself around 425 AD. Others suggest it was moved to Constantinople, where it may have been lost in subsequent fires or during the city's tumultuous history. Legends abound about the statue's disappearance. Some accounts claim it was dismantled and transported eastward for safekeeping, though no concrete evidence supports this. The lack of archaeological remains only deepens the mystery, inviting speculation and scholarly debate. The statue of Zeus represents more than lost art. It symbolizes the fragility of cultural heritage. Like many wonders of antiquity, it succumbed to changing religious landscapes, invasions, and neglect. The rise of Christianity led to the decline of many pagan sites, with temples repurposed, destroyed, or abandoned. Yet the statue's legacy endures in descriptions, artistic representations, and the collective memory of humanity. Its image has inspired countless artists and scholars, serving as a symbol of divine majesty and artistic excellence. Visiting the ruins of Olympia today, one can still feel the echoes of grandeur that the statue of Zeus must have inspired. Though the statue itself is lost to time, its story reminds us of the heights of human creativity and the inevitable passage of civilizations. Imagine a tomb so magnificent that its very name became synonymous with monumental burial. The mausoleum at Halicarnassus was more than a final resting place. It was a breathtaking tribute to love, power, and artistry. Built for a king and crafted by some of the finest sculptors of the ancient world, its story is a mix of grandeur and tragedy that still captivates historians and art lovers today. The mausoleum at Halicarnassus stands out among the 7 wonders as a unique fusion of architecture and sculpture, blending different artistic styles into a monumental tomb that celebrated a royal legacy. Located in the ancient city of Halicarnassus, now Bodrum in modern Turkey, this mausoleum was built between 353 and 350 BC for King Mausolus, ruler of Caria, and his wife and sister, Artemisia II. The relationship between Mausolus and Artemisia was complicated but deeply significant. Although their marriage was likely ceremonial, common among ruling families to consolidate power, their bond was marked by intense mourning when Mausolus died. Legend holds that Artemisia grieved so profoundly she even drank some of his ashes, mixed in her wine, an image that inspired countless artistic works and became emblematic of devotion and loss. This mausoleum was no ordinary tomb. Towering approximately 45 meters high, it was adorned with over 400 exquisite sculptures created by renowned Greek artists such as Scopas, Leochares, Bryaxis, and Timotheus. The structure combined Greek, Egyptian, and Lycian architectural elements, showcasing the cultural crossroads of the region. The sculptures depicted various scenes, from battles to mythological narratives, crafted with such skill that the mausoleum became a masterpiece of classical art. Its design influenced funerary architecture for centuries, setting a precedent for monumental tombs in both the ancient and modern worlds. Interestingly, the word mausoleum itself originates from Mausolus's name, illustrating how this tomb transcended its function to become a cultural icon. It embodied the ruler's power and the artistic zenith of his era. Unfortunately, like many wonders, the mausoleum's fate was sealed by time and conflict. It survived through the Roman period but was eventually damaged by a series of earthquakes. By 1402, it had fallen into ruins. In a twist of history, Christian crusaders dismantled parts of the mausoleum, using its stones to construct the nearby Bodrum Castle today. Only fragments of the sculptures remain, many housed in the British Museum. These remnants continue to tell the story of a tomb that once blended artistry and grandeur into a lasting monument. The Mausoleum at Halicarnassus teaches us about the intersection of love, politics, and art in the ancient world. It reflects a culture's desire to memorialize its leaders through monumental beauty, and the impermanence of even the most grandiose human achievements. Imagine a towering figure of bronze, standing proudly at the entrance of a bustling ancient harbor, welcoming sailors with the radiant presence of a sun god. The Colossus of Rhodes was not just a statue. It was a symbol of triumph and resilience, yet its life was brief, and its fall spectacular. What was its story, and how did this wonder inspire future generations? The Colossus of Rhodes was a monumental bronze statue erected on the Greek island of Rhodes in the late 4th century BC. It was built to celebrate the islanders' victory over the invading Macedonian forces led by Demetrius Poliorcetes, who had unsuccessfully besieged the city in 305 BC. The statue represented Helios, the sun god, who was credited with protecting the islanders and granting them their triumph. Standing approximately 33 meters, 108 feet, tall, the Colossus was, one of the tallest statues of the ancient world, rivaling the modern Statue of Liberty in height. Its sheer scale and craftsmanship made it an engineering marvel, a testament to the technical skill of Hellenistic artists and engineers. The statue's construction was a massive undertaking, involving the casting of large bronze plates over an iron framework. The bronze was sourced from melted-down weapons captured in battle, symbolizing how the spoils of war were transformed into a lasting monument of peace and power. According to ancient accounts, the Colossus stood with one foot planted firmly on the harbor entrance and the other perhaps resting on the breakwater, although artistic depictions vary. This imposing posture was meant to greet incoming ships and assert Rhodes' status as a powerful and proud city-state. Despite its grandeur, the Colossus's existence was tragically brief. Around 226 BC, roughly 56 years after its completion, a massive earthquake struck Rhodes. The seismic event was so powerful that it snapped the statue's knees, causing it to topple to the ground in a dramatic collapse. The Rhodians interpreted this disaster as a divine sign and chose not to rebuild the statue. Instead, they left, its remains lying where it had fallen, reportedly drawing visitors who came to marvel at the ruins, which remained a tourist attraction for centuries. The statue's remnants were eventually scavenged over time. In later centuries, invading forces and locals removed the bronze to reuse as scrap metal, leaving little trace of the original wonder. This gradual dismantling erased the physical presence of the Colossus, but not its legacy. The Colossus of Rhodes inspired countless artists and architects through history. Most notably, it served as a symbolic prototype for the Statue of Liberty, a modern icon of freedom and enlightenment gifted by France to the United States in the 19th century. The echoes of Helios's grandeur live on in Lady Liberty's torch and stance. Beyond its physical stature, the Colossus represented resilience and the pride of a city-state that overcame siege and destruction. It embodied the Hellenistic spirit of artistry and innovation, standing as a beacon of hope and victory in turbulent times. Today, while nothing remains of the statue itself, the island of Rhodes continues to celebrate its history and the story of the Colossus. Archaeological sites, museums, and cultural narratives keep the memory alive, reminding us that even fallen giants can leave lasting impressions on human civilization. Picture a colossal tower rising from a small island off the Egyptian coast, its beacon shining brightly across the dark waters to guide weary sailors safely to port. The Lighthouse of Alexandria was not just a wonder of architecture. It was a vital beacon of hope and safety, a pioneering achievement in engineering that shaped maritime navigation for centuries. The Lighthouse of Alexandria, also known as the Pharos of Alexandria, stands apart among the ancient wonders for its practical purpose and innovative design. Built around 280 BC on the small island of Pharos, just off the coast of the bustling city of Alexandria in Egypt, it served a crucial function, guiding ships safely into one of the Mediterranean's busiest and most important ports. Commissioned. During the reign of Ptolemy I, one of Alexander the Great's generals and the founder of the Ptolemaic dynasty, the lighthouse quickly became an iconic symbol of the city. Alexandria was not only a commercial hub, but also home to the famed Library of Alexandria and the tomb of Alexander himself. The lighthouse's towering presence reinforced the city's status as a center of power, learning, and maritime trade. Standing approximately 100 meters, 330 feet tall, the Lighthouse of Alexandria was among the tallest man-made structures of its time and remained one of the tallest for over 1,000 years. Its design was innovative. Built in 3 tiers, the lowest was a square base. Above it stood an octagonal middle section, and atop that was a cylindrical tower. Crowning the structure was a massive statue, possibly of Zeus or Poseidon, serving both decorative and symbolic roles. At the lighthouse's summit, a large furnace was kept burning, providing a blazing fire whose light was focused and reflected out to sea using a giant polished bronze mirror. This was the first known use of a reflective device to project light over long distances, an early precursor to modern lighthouse optics. This technology allowed sailors to navigate treacherous waters and avoid hidden reefs and shoals near Alexandria's harbor. The Lighthouse of Alexandria was not only a feat of architecture but also an engineering marvel that set a standard for maritime safety and lighthouse design throughout history. For centuries, it guided countless sailors safely to port, symbolizing safety, hope, and human ingenuity. Despite its importance, the lighthouse's lifespan was marked by destruction from a series of catastrophic earthquakes. The first major quake in 956 AD caused significant damage but did not destroy the structure. Repairs were made, and it continued to function. However, subsequent earthquakes in 1303 and 1323 dealt fatal blows. By the mid-14th century, the lighthouse had collapsed into ruins. In the centuries that followed, the remnants of the lighthouse were scavenged for building materials. The stones and blocks were repurposed, most notably to construct the citadel of Shait Bey, a fortress built on the original lighthouse site in the late 15th century by the Mamluks. This fortress still stands today, preserving a link to the lighthouse's history. The loss of the Lighthouse of Alexandria was a significant blow to maritime navigation in the Mediterranean. However, its legacy lived on. It became a symbol of the golden age of ancient engineering and a benchmark against which future lighthouses were measured. The lighthouse inspired countless legends and artworks. It symbolized the merging of practical function with monumental artistry, a beacon that lit the way for both ships and civilization itself. Modern lighthouses around the world owe much to the pioneering design of the Pharos of Alexandria. Its concept of using a high tower, a strong light source, and reflective technology laid the groundwork for centuries of advancements in navigational aids. Visiting Alexandria today, one can stand on the site of this ancient wonder and imagine the lighthouse's towering form casting its light across the Mediterranean, guiding sailors through darkness and storms. Though the physical structure is lost, the Lighthouse of Alexandria remains an enduring symbol of human ingenuity and the enduring need for connection and safety. What does it mean for humanity when monuments that once defined civilizations vanish, leaving behind only stories, ruins, and memories? The ancient wonders were not just stone and metal. They were the embodiment of dreams, ambitions, and identities. Their legacy teaches us about creation, destruction, and the timeless human quest for meaning. As our journey through the 7 wonders of the ancient world draws to a close, we find ourselves facing a profound truth. Only the Great Pyramid of Giza still stands today, a solitary guardian of an era long past. The other 6 wonders have succumbed to the forces of nature, time, and human history. Yet, despite their physical absence, their impact remains deeply woven into the fabric of human culture. The story of these wonders is, above all, a story of human aspiration. Each wonder represented an extraordinary effort to reach beyond the ordinary, to build something magnificent that would endure across generations. They were manifestations of faith, power, creativity, and technological achievement, expressions of civilizations that sought to immortalize themselves through monuments. Their destruction, while lamentable, also reminds us of the fragility of human creations. Earthquakes, fires, wars, and neglect erase these wonders from the physical world, yet they survive vividly in our collective imagination. This duality, between impermanence and lasting influence, is at the heart of what these wonders symbolize. The Great Pyramid, still standing after nearly 4,500 years, challenges us to consider what endurance means. It is a testament to the ancient Egyptians' engineering genius and cultural vision. Meanwhile, the ruins and stories of the other wonders invite curiosity and reflection. They ask us to look beyond what remains physically and appreciate the intangible legacies of art, history, and myth. Moreover, the influence of these ancient marvels extends far beyond their original time and place. The ideas, forms, and stories of the wonders have shaped art, architecture, literature, and culture throughout history. Renaissance artists revived classical themes inspired by the wonders. Modern architects draw upon ancient designs. Storytellers continue to weave narratives that keep the wonders alive in popular culture. In a practical sense, the study of these wonders also offers lessons for today's world. They remind us of the value of cultural heritage and the importance of preservation. As modern cities expand and technology advances, the challenge remains to protect the legacies of the past while building for the future. Furthermore, the wonders reflect a shared human experience. Despite differences in time, geography, and culture, they reveal universal themes: the desire to create, to honor, to remember. They connect us to ancestors who, like us, dreamed of leaving a mark on the world. As we reflect on the ancient wonders, we also confront questions about our own era. What monuments will we build? How will they endure? What will future generations remember of us? The legacy of the Seven Wonders challenges us to think not just about what we create, but why and how we preserve it. Finally, if you could step back in time and witness any of these wonders in their glory, which would you choose? Would you marvel at the precision of the Great Pyramid? Wander through the lush terraces of the Hanging Gardens? Stand beneath the towering columns of the Temple of Artemis? Or perhaps gaze upon the glowing light of the Lighthouse of Alexandria as it guides ships safely to harbor? These wonders are more than history. They are stories of human potential, resilience, and imagination. They remind us that while time may erode physical structures, the ideas and dreams they represent continue to illuminate our path.